The Sound of Violence. Hashtag would watch. Man, it's hard for me to think of a matchup that I would be more hyped about, honestly, than if you were going to do Francis Ngannou versus Daniel Cormier.
And see, that is the thing, too, is that you'd be able to tell him, like, hey, here's one that people will be excited about. But then for Daniel Cormier, like, it might be telling him basically, hey, there's an ATM around the corner. Go in there, just punch in this code we give you, and 9 times out of 10, it'll spit out a whole bunch of money at you, and all you have to do is open up this big bag and catch the money in there, and then you go on your merry way. Yes, 1 time out of 10, a giant sledgehammer just comes flying out and hits you right square in the forehead. But that's rare. Probably what's going to happen is the money thing. Like, just a bunch of money for you. Small risk of sledgehammer.
What up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. We are an MMA podcast to let you know the MMA podcast you should catch, skip, and not miss, as well as we try and check out a new show. I believe we are on episode 127. I think that's it.
I believe you're right.
Yeah, I'm Pulver, and I'm here with my co-host yet again in the morning. Goddamn. Chris Medafra, what up, dude?
Yeah, blame my work schedule for that, but there's only 3 of us, so...
That's right.
But,
I'm
getting used to this stuff, so it's not too bad. And you know what? It's good that this card this week has me excited, unlike last weekend's, and I think the one before that. Yeah. No, the one before that was Colby, right? That was actually okay, but still.
Uruguay wasn't quite the greatest card ever. Although shouts to Valentina Shevchenko for doing Valentina Shevchenko things.
Yeah.
You guys may also, full disclosure at the top of this one, you may also in the background hear a fucking chainsaw because somebody is cutting a tree at 8 a.m.
No, man, you got to tell them that you're recording outside in either Washington State or fucking Western Canada, right?
That's right.
Pacific Northwest.
I forgot to tell you, I'm surrounded by lumberjacks out here in Santee. But on that note, since it is the morning, why don't we start off with our Papa Vodka presents Doug Stanhope presents our sponsors, which for me is just fucking coffee again. I got the White Russian coffee. It's fine. I need to go get some from Modern Times.
I've got like the Don Francisco's. And by the way, you said you're in Santee. Might as well be Santee, right? At this point.
Dog.
Had to do it. But
speaking of, just on time. Like I said, when I'm not talking, I'm probably going to be muted this one. But you said you're drinking the Don Francisco coffee?
Yeah, I think it's like a French roast or something like that. It's funny too. My brother usually always says like on the coffee maker, if I'm not he's like, you schedule for a time. I think he does like 9 a.m. I'm like, nope, not waiting. So he's gonna be surprised when he sees it's not full. He's probably be very confused. So yeah.
Oh shit, I just realized I was muted. So now that I said that again, we're going to go ahead and get into format and kick this off. Since there's a tree that is being goddamn murdered outside the room, I'm going to let you start off with the MMA podcast you recommend people catch this week.
So just this will catch 22 here real quick, of course, not to try to be too punny, whatever the fuck you want to call it. My first catch is co-main event because I only have like one other catch and like no can't misses. I'm basically going to mention every podcast, so I'll get right into this. Co-main event. They described Valentina Shevchenko's aggressiveness in her fight against Jessica Ai compared to last weekend's card that a lot of you may or may not have seen, depending if you have ESPN Plus or not. I think a lot of people do, but I think a lot of people also don't give a shit about the UFC on ESPN Plus. Right? That's probably a given. Anyways, he said, how tough is it to prepare for Shevchenko? I know somebody, who else they have to say? They said Cyril Gane, the Frenchman, who also trains at Francis Ngannou when Francis is in Paris, has great movement for heavyweight and fucking great power. I mean, yeah, I imagine most heavyweights have good power, but then again, you train with Francis Ngannou, that's something to help you develop your skills as well. Because you know those dudes have probably sparred pretty hard. Ivan Ooze, aka Volkan Oezdemir, looked fantastic against the bricklayer Ilir Latifi.
Oh yeah, the secret of the ooze.
Yep. I think you and I both had Volkan by knockout. I mean, probably a lot of people had him by knockout.
I had him by knockout in the second.
Yeah.
I actually did really well on picks in this card.
I probably did sub 500, but I have no idea because I did the coin flip like on 3 or 4 of them.
I think you did all right. I'll pull it up.
They said you could slowly see Latifi's end coming. Chad wants to see Latifi go up to heavyweight, but not anymore. Is Romero versus Costa flying under the radar? I highly doubt that, but at the time of the recording, maybe. I think it was maybe because they weren't on any of the embeddeds, except for like one of them. Costa fights. I like what Ben said. He said, maybe it was Chad. Paulo Costa fights like he goes in there, afraid the bouncer is going to break it up. It's pretty accurate. They mentioned Joe Rogan always mentions how fighters with too many muscles gas early. Ask Brian Callen, right? Or ask who has the best body. But Romero and Costa have ignored this, except for Costa not doing a 5-rounder yet. I don't think he's been a main event yet, so I think that's correct. They said, was Mike Perry's nose the worst break we've ever seen in mixed martial arts? I mean, yeah, it was pretty fucking bad. Can't really recall someone else's nose basically exploding.
Yeah, Rick Franklin's the other like go-to answer for terrible nose breaks.
Perry flipping off the crowd is justified. Fight was not a robbery. I was at work when his card was on, and I saw part of it. Was I work? I can't remember the fuck I was when his card was going. I probably was. No, of course I was. But yeah, I don't remember how I scored that fight. Except the glimpses that I caught of it, very entertaining though. So Vicente Luque, for being a silent assassin, has silently or quietly put together a nice run in the division. And then they brought up this point, of course, and I hate bringing this piece of shit up, but they said, can we stop asking people to train with Greg Hardy based on because he's, in quotes, a nice guy? Like, can't they just be honest? Yeah, good point. They said, is it not impossible for someone to be nice to you while also being a piece of shit to someone else? Of course. Like, come on. People blow that shit out of proportion, and it's like, yeah. It's also known as an image rehabilitation campaign. Of course it is. And I'm not saying that sarcastically. Like, I agree with them. Pettis versus Diaz sounds like a pairing on a UFC video game. I guess now, yeah, if you think about it now, based on it, they probably should have fought 3 or 4 years ago, or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's something like that. Also, shouts out to now there's some kind of fucking chopping or cutting machine on top of the chainsaw on the back. It's really going good over here.
Hell yeah. Ben is thinking Pettis should be able to control distance and win a decision with kicks. I mean, we'll get into what we think, of course, later. They said, is Diaz versus McGregor 3 in the back pocket? But what if Pettis makes Diaz look bad? Does that go out the window? I mean, I don't think so, because Buddy talks, and it's ESPN we're talking about here. Of course they want Diaz versus McGregor 3. And then they said ramifications for the title fight of DC and Stipe and what happens if who wins, etc. They kind of break that down, and we'll get into that as well later. So I think I just had that as my main catch. Because I'm pretty much going to briefly mention other ones.
Yeah, they actually so for the intro, that was I believe co-main event episode 367.
Yeah.
Also, shouts out to the fucking noise in the background. That's going to be distracting me this whole time, so apologies. But I believe also this was our intro for this week, which was the clip. Oh my god, that's loud. Which was the clip of them talking about Ngannou essentially being an ATM for DC. Where like 9 times out of 10 it's just going to spit out a whole bunch of money at him, but that one time it's just going to hit him with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty
I feel
solid.
I feel like at this point Ngannou could beat anyone. I mean, just based on his power, he just fucking connects. Like, yeah, he could probably literally beat anyone.
Dude hits hard. Can't wrestle. But he hits hard.
At least not yet, right? Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. If he learns how to wrestle or just scramble, fucking look out. That would just become even a bigger issue for the rest of that division. What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to recommend, don't know if you have 2 headphones in, but recommend you do that. Kind of helps block out all that noise, at least from what I've had to do with.
Oh, I'm not worried about the noise and hearing it on my side. I'm worried about every time I talk.
Oh,
there's a goddamn tree being murdered in the background. It's like fucking Fern Gully outside and shit.
It's like, hey, is it? You know who I blame? I blame Starbucks and everyone else for all their paper straws. You fuckers.
The fucking paper straws. Hand me a plastic cup, but give me a paper straw. Problem solved.
Yeah, right. That's like a thing now. Like, Jesus, how the rules have been reversed.
Yeah, well, I think mostly just because everybody loves goddamn turtles so much, and there's that one video of them.
I know. I
pulling the
hate
straw.
seeing that video too. I'm like, yes, it's fucking sad to see a turtle like getting fucking destroyed by a straw, but worse things happen to other animals too. So it's like, however, what I'm not mad at is how beers now come in those fucking savable like 6-pack rings. Those are pretty badass. So I like that.
Yeah, those are dope. The canned beer revolution has been legit anyway. Speaking of which, I might start breaking into those here in a minute. Although, girlfriend Karen, when she picked me up beer, I said grab like a light IPA. She grabbed me an Imperial IPA that's 9%, which is going to be rough at 9 a.m., but probably still going to jump on it in the second segment because it is getting warm over here. I am going to very quickly, while there is not hella noise behind me, go through my catch, which I actually have two. First is Just Bleed MMA, episode 241. Really solid episode. Those guys make crazy fucking jokes all the time. They will say all kinds of wild shit, but it's a lot of fun. A lot of pro wrestling and video game talk, but they also did recap the Uruguay card and how fucked up Mike Perry's nose was. They also talk about how Schaub's comedy special is kind of like Faces of Death, which I'm pretty sure is being filmed outside right now. And apart from that, later on in the episode, Juice from iFox with Juice podcast joins, and there's just a whole bunch of hilarious Mexican jokes between everybody. They talk a lot about how Juice got into MMA during the Brock era and being a big Rashad fan. They also talk a bit about him meeting his co-host Reen and doing a podcast together after seeing DC vs. Jones, I believe, in the theater.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so it's just a fun one overall. Somebody's definitely smoking bowls the entire time. I couldn't tell whether it was Al or Bobby, but it was definitely one of them. You could hear them pick up the piece, hit the lighter, and then set the lighter down.
That's great.
Which is always great. Also at one point there was a joke. This is a good example of the jokes on that show. I believe it was Bobby, but it might have been Al. Made a joke that the next Combate card is just secretly going to be an ice raid, which I thought was pretty clever.
See, because I was going to ask you, did they go as dark and fucked up as us? But that's pretty good.
Well, they go way darker than us a lot of times.
Okay.
They go real fucking dark.
I'm trying to remember the worst thing I've ever said, but it's probably borderline racist or unethical. I did make a Terry Schiavo joke one time. But then again, that's late. So it's like, it's not like it's a too soon joke. It's just more like a too late.
Yeah, I'm normally the one making the fucking super dark references, and I'm not even gonna bring
shouts out to one of our commentaries, right?
Exactly. I'm not gonna say it again, but go watch Supreme Champion. I was pretty drunk and I found one great joke, and it's real fucked up. Oh my god, I think we're okay now. That's good. Hopefully that sound stays off for the rest of the episode. Oh my god, I can kind of focus.
Well, I think now that you've had your moment of relief, they're going to bring out 2 more chainsaws, so get ready.
That's fair. To be fair, dude, my moment of relief is when goddamn Yoel Romero and bodied up Paulo Costa getting there. I believe as Connor Rebush referred to it this week as 2 giant overstuffed sausage casings, which, yeah, checks out.
Color me excited.
That's right. Let's see. So I did actually have one other catch this week that I'll get to while it's quiet. It's Protect Your Neck, episode 142. Really solid breakdown from Dan Tom this week. He mentions he was on a podcast on I think it's Between the Links, which is a podcast on the Loudmouth Network. He recaps the Uruguay card and Shevchenko's win and Carmouche's lack of activity on that, which was frustrating but predictable. And then he had some really interesting points about some of the breakdowns on this card, like DC's head movement being really notable in the Stipe fight, since DC has that tendency to lean to his right, which John Jones caught him with that switch high kick. But Stipe doesn't throw a lot of big left hooks and definitely doesn't throw switch high kicks. So the lean of DC is probably not going to be a huge factor in this fight, which I thought was a really interesting point. He talks a bit about Nate's off-time 1-2 and Josh Thompson's head kick, which it's interesting to hear Dan Tom kind of break down what works for Nate and Anthony Pettis' recent use of like drop shifts and counterbalances, which he just had some really interesting points on how Anthony Pettis was able to catch Wonder Boy and whether or not that really will apply to the Diaz fight, which I was doing some tape study last night, and I figured out something that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, so we'll talk about that later. But I originally thought this was going to be a terrible matchup for Nate Diaz. Not so much anymore. So we'll get into that later. But yeah, just a really solid episode from him overall. He also brought up, which I caught on while doing some tape study, is Hall caught Costa a couple times from southpaw with a lead hook, which Yoel Romero loves to throw. Is lead hooks from both sides. So that could be pretty interesting in that fight. But it's just that episode 142 is a really good example of why Dan Tom is really, really bright when it comes to breaking down stuff. He catches a lot of small ticks that I a lot of times won't come across, and I don't hear other people bring up as well. So thought that was definitely a good one from him. Nice.
Yeah, I haven't checked out his podcast in a while, which I don't know why. I was usually pretty regular with that. But I was kind of all across the board this week with listening to certain podcasts. So,
yeah, I hear that. All right. Well, I guess you said you didn't have a skip this week. Am I right?
No, I'm pretty much going to mention everything as it goes. But
so I've got a skip, and I don't know why I do this to myself. I do it to myself. It's my own fucking fault that I have this skip.
You're a masochist.
Yeah. If you were to guess what show I'm talking about, it's got to be one of two, right?
Yeah, I mean the one probably that I saw on my Twitter notification, but
yeah, it actually was an Ariel's show this week. Even though I've had multiple people tell me over the last week that Ariel's show has fallen off a cliff.
Oh no, dude, I don't even tune in. The only time
either.
I tune into that is if it's like interview specific.
Yep.
You know, like I really want to hear what they have to say. Other than that, like it's like yeah.
Same here. I actually the last thing I've watched from him was his interview with Action Bronson, which if
that sounds like it's either really good or just not good at all.
Because it's actually really good.
Okay.
Action's drinking his Berliner Weiss that he put out with.
Oh, nice.
I forget who. It's called 7,000 something. I think. I've drank it on the show before, but.
I'll just ask you this: is it probably the new show? I mean, the show that I imagine you're talking about.
It's actually not the new show, but it is one of the two co-hosts from the new show. I'm an idiot, and I decided to listen to Below the Belt, episode 145 this week.
Okay, because my other new show is a Below the Belt segment that I've always seen but never actually listened to, or I should say watched.
Interesting.
Not a skip. It was actually interesting to me, and then the new show wasn't a skip. But I do have some lengthy notes on it, though.
All right. Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. I'm just mentioning that passing by. But go ahead and get into your skip.
Yeah, my skip. I normally say, this is where I normally say full disclosure. Just because we say to skip your show doesn't mean we don't like you or we don't like your show. I don't like this show anymore. It's not about MMA anymore. Brendan Schaub this week, he did bring up one thing that's interesting, which is Stipe sounding kind of punchy. He's the only one I've heard talk about this. Normally normally media is pretty careful to talk about shit like that. And I think that'll probably come up on another show that we talk about. But interesting to hear him saying it out loud, at least. Brendan did not watch the Mike Perry fight last week, yet the name, Mike Perry's nose is in the title of the video he did. I don't know how you're going to have a whole segment.
It's because it's a drawl, B.
Oh, God damn it. Brendan also talks about how he's not into MMA lately. He says UFC 241 is weak. He doesn't he thinks the prelims are terrible because he doesn't know any of the names. He says he doesn't care about MMA anymore. Dude,
it's too much of that Hollywood money, bro. Or he's like become a casual. He's a casual Hollywood fucking lizard. He's a reptilian now.
He's
of Hollywood.
Yeah. Shouts out to Eddie Bravo and Sam Tripoli. He is 100% a casual. He even more than Rogan at this point. And Rogan's a hella casual at this point.
100%. Yeah.
Oh man, it was just frustrating. Like, don't talk about MMA if you don't want to talk about MMA. that's fine. But for sure, I feel like this has now become a permanent skip for me. Because if you don't give a shit about UFC 241, what are we doing, bro? Like, why talk about it?
I'll say this. I'd rather listen to his show than have to even remotely see any mention of some hack like Colin Cowherd. Coward, excuse me. Yeah, not Cowherd. Coward, because he's a coward. Attempt to try to talk about mixed martial arts.
That's fair.
And I definitely would. And speaking of Skip, Shannon Sharp legit has been getting better at actually knowing at least who fights and who's ranked in
Skip's
MMA.
been getting worse.
Skip is just a shill for any. Well, he's just a talking head. Skip, like I said before, was like an actual journalist. But basically, once you get by, and I know this will happen to me depending on my career trajectory. Not saying I'm gonna be on TV by any means, because you have to build a character and be charismatic. Not that I can't do that, but it would be a little tiring, right? Well, at least not for some people. But anyways, my point is, as it goes on, you can only keep writing for so much until then you're like, oh wait, let me just write myself as a character. But yeah, at least Shannon Sharp has the charisma to sell something, right? You know,
That's
unlike
right.
fucking Skip Bayless, where he's just like, oh, let me talk about my Cowboys like every 5 seconds, you know, or.
Well, to be fair, Skip does get to see his favorite fighter this week, 200-pound Nate Diaz with his sumo takedowns.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I almost forgot about that. He just sumoed a guy, Shannon.
God damn it.
With his Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. God damn it. All right. Well, on that note, we'll keep on moving on. But yeah, man, I don't know why you would do a show about MMA when you don't want to talk about MMA. That seems like a bad way to go about doing a show. Who knows? Although Brendan Schaub also talked about how Joe Coy was hilarious during that episode. So.
Oh, well, see, now that'd be a skip if I heard Joe Coy is hilarious and someone wasn't sarcastic.
Well,
so.
To be fair, Brendan does comedy.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thanks for the reminder.
Huh. Well, at least allegedly he does comedy. Anyway, we'll keep on moving on.
See, I was about to make a really bad joke. You know what? I'm going to go with it. No, now the timing's off. Never mind. It would have been really... Can I just tell you what it was? I was going to say watching his comedy is basically like, let me get some Bleach. But then again, if Bleach doesn't cure autism, would watching his comedy give me autism? But see, then I get the timing's off now. It's just like, wow.
That one really had some circles going in it.
Yeah, ask the cultist, right? Did you see that, by the way? That whole thing going on in New York.
No.
Never mind. Yeah, anyways, by the way, guys, Bleach does not cure anything except it cures your life. You're dead now. So please, if you want to die, do that. Yeah. It's definitely not going to cure your child's autism or any crazy shit that you think.
I always thought animes like Bleach caused autism, but
right? It definitely doesn't cure being a fucking moron. Well, it does, because then you die. So you know what? It does work. Please drink Bleach. Do it.
There you go. PSA from Chris: drink Bleach.
Drink Bleach if you're a fucking moron, because it will cure your stupidity, because you'll be dead. So.
Well, all right. There's a weird promo you cut on dumb people, but we'll keep on moving on.
I blame Brendan Schaub. All right.
To be fair, good segue. So let's see. Do you have any Can't Miss episodes this week?
Yeah, you know what? Let's see. I mean, how would I say this? I guess there's nothing. There's just more like just good mentions, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I was kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
I did like Eurobash 48 a lot, episode 48. That was good.
Yeah, Eurobash was solid.
They had Darren Till and Cyril Gahn on there, or Cyril and his coach.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Fernando Lopez,
yeah.
Yeah, Fernando Lopez. That was good. I'll just briefly mention they talk about the UFC Ultimate. We already been talking about this. Yeah, Colby deserves a title shot. He does. Like, they'll make it happen. I know Usman. Apparently, the contracts have been signed. Sans Usman, Marty not wanting to sign for a fucking reason. I blame that on Ali.
I was gonna
just
say,
wanting to stir up a fucking shitstorm. Like, stop fucking around. Just sign the goddamn contract. Like, come on, dude. You're not gonna. No one wants to see you fight Leon Edwards. That'd be the stupidest shit that could happen. Like, just stop. But the good point is can you do Masvidal and Edwards on that same card? I mean, I wouldn't be against that, but then again, I think it's in Jorge's best interest to just wait. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, you could put a hell of a promo with. I mean, they already have that B-roll. of Jorge with the 3-piece. So
1,000% they'll use that for whatever fight they have lined up. You're going to see that shit everywhere because the UFC has zero morals when it comes to promoting. Well, and also they're just lazy and it's easy promotion.
Yeah, smash the windows. Yeah, what does that remind you? But then Darren Till, Niall was on the phone with him, and he keeps pressuring Till. So you're going to 185, right? Tell us you're going to 185. And of course, Till is just like, oh, he's like, Till was adamant that he's undecided. It's like, dude, you're going to 185. Literally every fucking post you have on social media is you literally just like powerlifting and shit.
Like, I might not.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck, mate.
My favorite is that Dan Tom. Boch. Really though?
Either way, no. I'm actually excited to see Darren Till go to 185. I think it's inevitable. Just please don't go back to 170. It's just gonna hurt you more. Yeah. Oh, what did I say? Oh, so real quick, Cyril Gahn was with his coach. I like how Peter had the balls to say. Well, I mean, more or less just the common sense to ask. There's a fact that Hardy, and he didn't say this, is me putting in my notes. Fact that Greg Hardy's a piece of shit woman beater. Does this appeal to you, Cyril? Wanting to beat his ass? And Cyril just says it's no extra motivation. It's all business for me. I mean, it probably has to be in the back of his mind, right? I think one would hope.
100%. They're not going to feed Greg Hardy to that dude,
and they won't. Yeah, no.
They should, but they won't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a pretty solid episode overall.
Yeah,
I liked it for sure.
It was good.
Cool, man. Well, I guess I'll jump into my can't miss episode here briefly, which is Gross Point Blank. Josh Gross's show over on The Athletic, which is now officially behind a paywall. But it's a really solid episode. He had Bob Lighton, I forget how you pronounce it. Who's a lawyer who focuses on antitrust cases from damages for
everyone's favorite fucking what's his name, dude, where the fuck, oh, here we go. He had Colby Covington on there, Mr. The American Winning Machine himself. It was a pretty solid episode, even with how cringy as you think it would be. I mean, of course, he was in character for most of it. He had 2 lovely women with him, of course, that just weren't awkward as fuck and just staring off into the distance. In some parts, he kind of came off as authentic. Brendan, of course, says, Colby said, have you ever met a hater that's doing better than you? I mean, it's like, sure, if you're in that business, I mean, mostly it's trolls that hate on you, but yeah, it's just kind of like a loaded question. I like the part where they talk about Cam Hanes, the mutual friendship that Brendan's friends with Haynes as well as Colby. Colby credits his great cardio by kind of just all the training he did with Cam Hanes. Apparently they do a lot of mountain running and just long distance cardio. Colby says in his spare time he helps coach kids at his old high school in Oregon. He was asked about, does your family care about your character? He says his family doesn't really care about his character, but they respect the money he's bringing in, evidently. He says he has lost a good amount of friends and sponsors to the gimmick he's doing. But he doesn't give a fuck. He says he's just there just for the money and to get the gold. He talks about triggering certain journalists because they don't realize his gimmick, which I think is ironic because a journalist should realize that it's a fucking gimmick. Shouts out to apparently Sports Illustrated, evidently. Misha Tate isn't a fan of Colby, and he says she's a hypocrite because she talked a lot of shit to get fights against Ronda, and she's a shill for one. Yeah, it was interesting. It wasn't too bad. And the other news, and Chris, are you still with us? I know you're in the Matrix, I think.
I think we're doing much better now. But
we're good.
Good God, man. This our fucking show. I'm going to nominate our show as a skip this week.
It is
fucking
definitely
off the rails.
Yeah, with my shitty autism bleach joke. But then again, that was the timing. I fucked up the timing. So clearly, I'll never be into comedy. I can maybe write for comedy if I am high enough or inebriated enough. But you know what? Because, sometimes that gets the creative juices flowing for some.
I blame all the goddamn lumberjacks outside taking out trees and shit.
Yeah, of course. And then I'll just get into the new show that Judo Bill Tyler would skip and rather suck a homeless dude's cock than listen to.
That's a direct quote that we got from Judo Bill this week about the show Java Boys. Greatest name ever, Java Boys.
Here's the thing.
Java.
Not once did they sip coffee at all. Not once.
No, they just have a clip in the intro of coffee being made.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Anyways, I'll break this down. It's just essentially Luke Thomas and Brendan just previewing the card. Luke sees this pay-per-view as two separate cards, meaning that he says if you look at from the prelims down, nothing is exciting on that card except for Sandhagen versus a Sun Tzu. He says other than that, take it or leave it. I mean, we'll get into it, what we think about it. I haven't really actually even looked at the undercard, to be honest.
There's a bunch of fun fights on there. They're fun style matchups. There's going to be some straight fucking brawls. But Brendan Schaub doesn't know the name of anybody on the undercard, so I don't know how he would know that.
Yeah, Brendan, of course, is rooting hard for Nate Diaz because he says the UFC brass is going to be thrown into flux if Nate wins. They won't know what to do. I disagree with that. If Nate wins, you kidding me? Of course they know what to do. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, they pair him up against Jorge Masvidal for the easiest money of their goddamn lives.
Yeah, like it's that or Connor, but then again, Connor's a whole different thing now.
Yeah, Irish sports star.
Yeah. So, and that was a funny thing too. I noticed they asked Anthony Pettis, "Oh, what do you think about that incident?" He's like, "Oh, well, technically, we don't know what the old man said." It's like, yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but you're still punching an old man, and they give her like,
right,
come on.
like
you're
okay,
and you're a fucking professional fighter.
Yeah, worst case scenario. Let's say the old dude told Connor he's the Irish sports star accused of anal rape. Still not super cool to hit, dude.
Like, I can imagine, I feel like the only thing...
I feel like people deserve to be assaulted when Proper 12 is involved. That shit is real.
Oh, no. Like, if it was... I mean, if you ask me, what did the Irish guy probably said? He's probably like, Connor, this whiskey is fucking gobshite. Yeah, cunt.
I would just about to say like fucking that. Shite. 100%.
Yeah, that's probably what he told him. I mean, I think like the only way Connor would punch him is if maybe he insulted like his child or some shit.
Connor's hit so many fucking. Remember the the dude with mob ties that Connor allegedly hit in a bar also. Yeah,
and Dana's comments are fucking pure comedy. That fucking bald-headed egg. Jesus.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, Pettis was like, "Oh, you don't know what the old man said," and then Jorge kind of had the same thing. Oh, whatever. You know, it doesn't really matter. What were they saying? Oh, yeah, Brendan doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's like, oh, I love the Diaz versus Masvidal. I think everyone likes that idea. Luke wants to see Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson. I don't want to see that. I want to see Tony Ferguson fight the winner Khabib and Poirier, so please be quiet. They said, what does Nate want next? Money? I mean, I feel like that's all he wants. He says he didn't even want to fight fucking Kamaru Usman. He says because he's boring and lame. I mean, he's not necessarily wrong. But yeah, Brendan thinks if Nate Diaz loses, he's never coming back. I wouldn't say that because money talks. Yeah, I don't know. I guess this is a half skip. It wasn't a bad preview. It's just a lot of just kind of like they're just repeating, and it's a lot of reverberation of just
shit that they've said on 3 other shows. Yeah, it's
pretty much like I remember that's like you said. Brian even said, "Yeah, don't you think Stipe's kind of punchy?" It's like, well, you could say the same fucking thing about Nate Diaz. I can't understand a single thing he's saying half the time.
True. Although, shouts out to Brendan Schaub for straight up. I mean, he's brought up multiple times that they subtitle Stipe.
That was fucking stupid. Like, I'm sorry, I get it as a joke, but come on, dude. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, you really can't understand him? I know he talks fast. That's just literally how he's talked. Like, even before he was like, come on, really?
Yeah.
But it's like, you might as well say, oh, give Nate Diaz subtitles, bro. I can't hear you. Just like, what? Like, come on. Yeah, then they talk about, like, oh, what happens if DC wins? What happens if Stipe wins? It's like, dude, it's obvious. If Stipe wins, there's a fucking rubber match.
100%.
Come on. Like, no. Or like, oh, can Stipe make 205? Really? I don't think he'd want to do that. Like, yeah, he weighed in at 230, but come on. It's just a lot of they say Khabib's in for the fight of his life against Poirier. I mean, technically you should have that mindset against every new opponent. Then Brendan says, oh, I think the biggest problem for Khabib is Tony. I mean, I agree. I think you can also respectfully throw in Justin Gaethje. But then again, Justin says fuck wrestling, but I don't think he'll be saying that if he fights Habib, right? So, yeah, and then I don't know. And then Brendan talks about Colby. Says I like Colby over Usman. I mean, we'll get into that later. Hopefully, just Marty sign the contract, right? That's the one thing I want from Madison Square Garden. I think a lot of people want that, regardless, because a lot of people hate Colby. So that's still, I mean, granted the pay-per-view's on ESPN Plus, so it's not going to sell, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure. But I don't know what that show is for. I don't know who it's for or what it's for.
It's a pointless show.
I have a feeling, I didn't have time to listen to it. I have a feeling Luke Thomas's live chat that he did on his own YouTube channel about UFC 241 is probably much better. It's fine. I think this is literally an excuse for Showtime to have Luke Thomas and Brendan Schaub on the same thing, which is fine, I guess. I don't know who it's for or why you would do it, but whatever.
By the way, if you're a coffee lover, you'll be very disappointed.
Yeah, for real. Fucking Java Boys.
That's a terrible name.
That is
Jesus fucking Christ.
If you were to tell me who came up with the name Java Boys, Brendan Schaub would be the quickest pick I would ever have. It is. Oh God, that's a bad name.
Yeah.
Anyway, I actually did listen to another new show this week, Deadbeat MMA episode 4, hosted by Deadbeat Dak. The guy does the show solo. He recapped UFC Uruguay. He talked about winning a bunch of money on Valentina by decision, which, smart man. Fucking, I really should have put some money down on that.
Yeah.
I was very confident in it. Let's see. He previews UFC 241. He does a Twitter mailbag, and then he does the Deadbeat MMA Terrific 10 countdown, which basically he just goes through and names 10 things that were dope over the last week. He brought up stuff like E60 on DC, Invicta, and the return of the Phoenix Rising series, wanting to see an atomweight division in the UFC, Frankie going down to bantamweight, that kind of stuff. So, pretty solid show overall, especially for only 4 episodes in, and for it being a solo hosted show as well. So, something to keep an eye on for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, I liked it. So why don't we go ahead and burn through some of these honorable mentions while it's not fucking straight chaos in the background and my internet hasn't died yet. Because this is the most shit show episode. No, it's not the most shit show episode we've ever had. I'm not blacked out yet. Yeah. We'll see how this next break goes. I might pound a couple shots because it is fucking chaos over here. So, do you have any honorable mentions that you didn't mention up top?
Yeah, fights gone by.
Really good.
Jack said the last week's fights were mainly the Shevchenko fight. He says Cyril Gane brings excitement to that division again. I mean, the heavyweight division's still shaping up nicely regardless, but it is a nice addition for sure. He thinks Shevchenko's not the killer others make her out to be.
Shocking.
Let's see, what else did I have? Submission Radio in bits and pieces. Casper and Dennis had an interview with Jorge Masvidal. It was like a 9-minute segment I watched on YouTube. Jorge says it's pandemonium now for him in Miami. He says he can't go anywhere without people kind of wanting a picture. And he says it doesn't help that he has social anxiety a little bit. So he's like, yeah, I don't mind talking to people, but sometimes I kind of want to get the fuck out of there. So it kind of reminds me of Diaz. I kind of noticed Nate's like that a lot. And Nate's talked about that as well, too.
Yeah.
And that's probably mostly why Nate doesn't like doing media. He just doesn't like being around cameras, which nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Masvidal talks about his mentality when he fights. Of course, Casper asks, what are your thoughts on when Colby says he's Batman and you're Robin? He says, I could tell you that Colby didn't write that line.
Checks out.
He says, and by the way, I'm not into superheroes. He's like, my 2 favorite people are either the Joker, and he's like, more like Thanos. He's like, I erase people from existence. Shout out to Ben Askren, even though he's not going away. He talked about the stupid bar video with Connor. That's a quick thought. MMA Vivisection was real good. And I'll get more into that because, they're always previewing the card. A-Side live chat was solid. They talked about fighters who need to retire. Care Don't Care was pretty good. Other than that, yeah, I think that's what I had for just quick shout-outs.
Yeah, A-Side Live Chat was pretty solid. They had Danny Segura on as the guest.
Yep.
That was a solid one. Let's see. Some of the ones I had, Severe MMA, episode 222 was real good. They talk a bit about Aspen Ladd getting suspended in California for being way too big for 135. They also, Sean brings up that it's absolutely journalists' responsibility to say when they think fighters should retire. I totally agree with it. And he cites that everybody kind of just uses the cop-out of, nobody should tell a fighter when to retire, which is ridiculous. Like, everybody should be saying BJ Penn needs to retire. That's not a controversial statement. Diego Sanchez probably shouldn't be taking head trauma anymore.
But, dude, he's a Jedi. What are you talking about?
God damn it. Oh, god damn it. Coast to Coast Combat Hour was really good this week. They had Erin Harp on to talk about her Invicta win and being a brown belt under Royce Gracie. MMA on the Rocks episode 153 was really solid. They actually changed their streaming setup as well now that Google Hangouts died. And I believe Bill, the entire episode, was drinking pumpkin beers. And his theory is that pumpkin beers came out early this year because they're trying to compete with that hard seltzer market that everybody just found out about, evidently. Fucking claws, bro. Claw season, bro.
Yeah, ain't no laws with the claws, baby.
Fuck. Those things have been around for, there's been hard seltzers for years.
Yeah. I know Smirnoff's in the game now. Four Locos, like, fuck it, 14%. Let's go.
God, fucking Four Loco.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if you want to do a commentary next week. Probably wouldn't want to involve Four Loko or any. Well, I've had White Claw before. It just all it tastes like is like, yeah, let me just add vodka into like a LaCroix. I don't know. Like it's not bad if it's not good.
100%.
Like it's not bad. It's not good. I actually would rather get
fine.
like my favorite flavored sparkling water or some shit, and then just add vodka or tequila. I don't know. It's like White Claw's not bad. It's just I would rather have a beer. I don't know. That's just me.
100%.
More flavor. It's just bland.
So
that's all.
LAPB in the chat is saying there's a rumor that Stipe got knocked out in sparring, which is interesting. I think DC speed is going to be a problem regardless. But
yeah.
I wonder if that was. I wonder if LAPB knows if it was this time that Stipe got knocked out in sparring, or if it was the last time they fought. Because I think either way, DC's hand speed is going to be a fucking problem. Plus, Stipe faded pretty fucking hard in the first fight. Like, he slowed down significantly towards the end of that first round.
Maybe that's why he weighed in less for more cardio. I don't know.
Maybe.
But then again, so did DC, so should be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. And we'll get to our picks for the card here after the break when I go outside and I murder the fucking lumberjack.
He's back. I hear it.
Yep. Shouts out to the fucking... If you guys can't tell, I'm flustered. Super flustered. Let's see. Heavy Hands did a bonus episode number 42, where they talk a bit about Benitez versus Yusuf. They also talk about Brunson's decline since leaving Jackson Wink. And, of course, they went in depth on Shevchenko versus Carmouche. They actually did bring up that Shevchenko, it seems like the kind of counter striker that she feels like it's a mistake to ever lead ever. Oh, shit. LAPB says the rumor is that a big bearded sparring partner knocked him out 2 weeks ago. That's super not good. And Stipe is 1,000% the kind of guy who would still take the fight and not think much about it. That's really interesting. I wonder. I already had DC, spoiler alert, but
I'm spoiler. So did I.
Now,
yeah, spoiler. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Anyway, we'll get to that in a bit. Also, Joe Rogan Experience MMA show, episode 75 with Dan Hardy was pretty solid. A lot of talk that was not at all about fighting, but some that was. And Severe MMA also did a premium episode on the top 6 bets for UFC 241 with Steffi Haynes. That one was pretty solid. Or Crooklyn, I guess you'd probably know her better as. And The Writer and the Fighter, episode 43, talking about Jake Smith's upcoming fight And David keeps giving Jake anxiety by talking about Mike Perry's super ultra broken nose. So those were the shows that we had for this week. Holy shit, this first segment has been pure fucking chaos. I am going to go pound a shot or two of vodka and grab an Imperial IPA. And we will be back.
Just slow down a little bit. We don't want you fucking falling off the train tracks a la Matt Hughes at the end of this next segment. So
Nailed it, bro. Nailed it. Well, on that note, we're going to go ahead and take that break, and then we'll be back to do our breakdown of the UFC 241 card, which is going to be fun as hell. This card is, there's a lot of fucking straight scraps that are booked on this thing. So we'll be back in a minute, and in the meantime, you guys can listen to this clip from Heavy Hands talking about how it's big boy season. So we'll be right back.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Just imagine these two tie up against the fence. How fucking excited Pat is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Just two gleaming stuffed sausage casings straining against one another. Their huge muscles squidging through the gaps in the octagon fence.
They need to invest in one of those super slow-mo cameras so you can have a single, just like in ultra, one of the, just get one of those things from Planet Earth, so that it's got like a 10-minute thing of the time where Yoel Romero lifted him up for that slam. You just see every bead of sweat glistening off his muscles as he lifts him up in the air.
Whatever camera they used to capture the jiggle of Tyron Woodley's ass when Darren Till tapped out, they need to use that for this entire fight. Because that's the only one that can do the job.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Just imagine these two tie up against the fence. How fucking excited Pat is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Just two gleaming stuffed sausage casings straining against one another. Their huge muscles squidging through the gaps in the octagon fence.
They need to invest in one of those super slow-mo cameras, so you can have a single, just like a in ultra, just get one of those things from planet Earth, so that it's got like a 10-minute thing of the time where Yoel Romero lifted him up for that slam. You just see every bead of sweat glistening off his muscles as he lifts him up in the air.
Whatever camera they used to capture the jiggle of Tyron Woodley's ass when Darren Till tapped out, they need to use that for this entire fight. Because that's the only one that can do the job.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Just imagine these two tie up against the fence. How fucking excited Pat is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Just two gleaming stuffed sausage casings straining against one another. Their huge muscles squidging through the gaps in the octagon fence.
They need to invest in one of those super slow-mo cameras, so you can have a single, just like a in ultra, just get one of those things from planet Earth, so that it's got like a 10-minute thing of the time where Yoel Romero lifted him up for that slam. You just see every bead of sweat glistening off his muscles as he lifts him up in the air.
Whatever camera they used to capture the jiggle of Tyron Woodley's ass when Darren Till tapped out, they need to use that for this entire fight. Because that's the only one that can do the job.
All right, everyone, we're back.
Yeah, we are. Jesus Christ, there's so much going on.
Well, Chris is having a fucking epidemic going on right now, or a pandemic, what do you want to call it? Just, well, shit's going crazy. We are here to preview UFC 241, which is in Anaheim, California, at the Honda Center. Trust me, I looked at tickets a couple months ago. It was still a little out of my price range. I would have loved to drive up an hour to go see this.
Yeah, I think the cheap seats were like $100.
No. They were like fucking 180, dude.
Well, I mean, like when it first came out, like the nosebleeds were like $100.
That's what I should have done in hindsight, but it's all good.
So I'm going to be muting off and on through this since I have a wood chipper in the background, plane noises, my allergies are killing me. It's all fun.
We'll get into this right now. First fight of the bout, first bout of the night, is a women's flyweight bout between Colombian queen Sabina Mazo, going up against American fighter Shayna Dobson. Both these women don't have a lot of professional experience. But you know what? Hopefully that means it's a scrap. Last time we saw Sabina Mazo, she had a decision loss to Marina Moroz last March. Shayna Dobson, last time I saw her was on The Ultimate Fighter. Last time she was in the Octagon was a year ago, April 2018, where she lost to Lauren Mueller, UFC on Fox 29. Don't really have much to say about this one, except I'm probably leaning towards a Colombian chick, but I mean, Dobson had like okay striking on Tough, I think, but I think it's just her lack of experience. She only has 5 professional fights. Granted, the whole division isn't really that deep anyway.
And also the Tough fights don't count towards those 5, so.
I don't know. I could call this a coin flip. I'm not going to waste my time doing that because I'd rather just be stern about who the fuck I'm going to pick. So I'm just going to go with the Colombian girl via decision because it's a flyweight bout.
I think that's not a terrible pick. I'm taking Dobson TKO in the first, mostly because Mazo keeps her, or I think it's Mazo, she keeps her chin way up. She has a tendency to pull back like James Vick, and I think that could be a big problem against someone like Dobson who's willing to just step forward and throw fucking giant bombs. Especially since Mazo has a pretty bad habit, at least in her last fight, of throwing naked kicks and not setting them up behind punches. And if you just throw a kick at Shayna Dobson, she's gonna just wing a giant bomb at your head every time. And if you're someone who's throwing naked kicks and doesn't have head movement, or not a ton of head movement, I think that's a bad recipe. And so I'm going Dobson TKO in the first. If it makes it out of the first round, I could definitely see Meizo taking the next two, just with the better cardio. But I think she's going to get blasted early, and it's whether or not Meizo can survive it.
So the odds for those interested, Mazo is a minus 133 favorite to a plus 113 of Dobson.
That makes sense. She's definitely fought the tougher competition, and she did look really good in LFA. Just her last fight, she got hit so clean so many times by Marina Moroz.
So this next fight we have is a men's bantamweight bout between American fighter Brandon Davis and Korean fighter Kyung-Ho Kong. I probably said that wrong. But Brandon Davis, Killer B, last time we saw him, he had an impressive performance over Prospect. I think he's still Prospect. Bantamweight Randy Costa. Brandon Davis had submitted him via rear naked choke at the beginning of the second round. Before that, he had a war with Enrique Barsola, and he got knee barred by Zabit Magomed Sharipov. No shame in that. Kyung-Ho Kong, last time we saw this guy, he submitted Teruto Ishihara this past February. I've never been too impressed with Teruto Ishihara. I know the guy kind of had like some good potential. Not taking anything away from Kong, but I'm kind of leaning Brandon Davis because I like his output, and he shows he could take punishment and kind of dish it back. The guy has decent volume against defense. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Davis. What are you thinking, man?
So yeah, I've kind of been going back and forth on this one. This is one of the ones where it's going to be a crazy scrap. It's good. These dudes are both going to step into the pocket and wing bombs. I'm taking Brandon Davis in this, mostly just because I think he's going to throw with more volume. And Kong a little bit in his last fight shelled up against the cage when Ishihara, and especially when Ricardo Ramos threw a little bit of volume at him and kind of just started really throwing multiple strikes in a row, especially in the Ramos fight. Or is it Ramos? I always fuck that one up. I think it's Ramos. Is he Brazilian? Yes, he is. In the Ricardo Ramos fight, he just kind of got put in a defensive shell a bit with the volume, and I think Brandon Davis is probably going to do that as well. He does have to watch out for Kong's giant winging counter punches, which he will 100% throw. Also, both these dudes throw nasty leg kicks, which could be a factor. And Kong also throws some really hard knees as well. But I just think the calf kicks and the head movement of Davis is going to save him in this one. And so I'm going Davis via decision off volume. But I think it's going to be goddamn back and forth and super scrappy.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that's one of those cards, one of those fights on the undercard that should be a banger, should be good. It's probably just kind of, most fights, I guess, in the undercard are under the radar for some people.
Shouts to Brennan Schaub.
Except for one fight in particular, right? Anyways, the odds on that, Kong is a slight favorite at minus 208 to plus, I guess it's not slight, to plus 175. Moving
Wait, Kong
forward,
was a favorite or the underdog?
He's a favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, I guess I get it. He has looked really good, and Brandon Davis with the weight cut, you kind of wonder how long his chin's going to be able to hold up at that weight class. But I don't know.
Next up, we have a women's strawweight bout, which could also be a women's atomweight bout, if you ask me.
Yep.
Between Hannah Cyphers and Jody Escobar, both of them are basically the same size. Hannah Cyphers, last time we saw her, defeated Polyana Marijuana via split decision last March. And Jody Escobar, last time we saw her, she lost against to Angela Hill last April. I have Hannah Cyphers in this fight. No disrespect to Jody Escobar. She has a lot of heart. I don't know. I just feel like she's just very undersized. If there's any fight that she has a better chance in, just based on the stature of her, the size of her punch, probably this one.
Definitely.
For sure. It's probably one of her more favorable matchups in a long time.
For sure. She is going to be bigger than Cyphers by quite a bit. So I think if this goes to the clinch, she could probably take a decision over Cyphers, or is it Seifers? I always fuck that up.
I think it's Cyphers.
I think it's Seifers, but
It's probably
could be
Seifers,
either
yeah.
one. The volume and the speed advantage in Seifers' corner, I think, is going to make a difference in this. I think, like I said, I think if Escobar puts her in the clinch and just kind of beats her up from there, I think she can do real well. But yeah, I got to go Seifers by decision, just off speed and volume.
Yeah, and I have Hannah Cyphers in fantasy, I think.
Nice. Too solid pickup.
We'll see. I have decision. The odds on this are Cyphers is a minus 323 to plus 248.
That seems too wide, but
I understand, but yeah, it's. Let me go ahead and queue up this next one. This next fight we have, I believe, is a men's bantamweight bout, or is this at catchweight?
It's at a catchweight of 140, and I don't know why.
It must have been short notice. I mean, generally, I feel like that's kind of what happens, right?
Generally, but I don't remember anybody dropping out of this fight. I don't remember it being booked that short notice, but maybe I'm wrong.
So we have undefeated men's bantamweight prospect Manny the Bermudez Triangle Bermudez, 14-0, going up against essentially another men's bantamweight prospect Casey Kenny. I think I remember that guy from The Ultimate Fighter, unless I'm thinking of someone else. Or no, I think I remember Casey Kenny from Dana White's Content. I can't remember.
Yeah, Contender Series back in 2017. He fought twice.
That's what it was, yeah. So, Bermudez, undefeated. Last time we saw him, he defeated Benito Lopez via guillotine choke at the end of the first round. Impressive victory last February.
Yeah, super slick guillotine.
It was like a battle of the prospects, essentially. Casey Kenny, last time we saw him, defeated Ray Borg via unanimous decision last March. I don't really know where to go with this one. Both dudes are bringing it lately. They're both prospects. They both want to kind of probably get into that top 15 ranking at some point or get a ranked opponent next based on how this fight goes. I think I'm leaning towards Bermudez, but not with a lot of confidence. I mean, I guess I have confidence for both, but I think I'll just go Bermudez decision just on a hunch.
Yeah, I'm going Bermudez as well. I'm going to take him via sub, but mostly just because Casey Kenny got into a billion scrambles against Ray Borg. He basically just won that fight by constantly scrambling. And also, I don't know that he won that fight. It was pretty close, and I think I had Ray Borg taking it, if I remember right. So yeah, I'm leaning Bermudez. I just think he's going to set something up in transition that Casey Kenny is going to walk right into. Kind of similar to the guillotine he set up against Benito Lopez, where when you rewatch the finish of that fight, he clearly sets it up so that Benito Lopez's first option is to go right into the guillotine setup. Like the way he held his hands and the way he set it up is really slick, and I think he's probably going to be able to do that against Casey Kenny. I think if this fight hits the third round, Casey Kenny probably takes the third round. But I've got Manny via sub in probably the first.
I like it. I'll just stick with decision.
I think that's not a bad pick.
Let's see the odds on this fight. You have Bermudez and a minus 164 to a plus 143 of Kenny. And now my allergies are acting up right now. You know,
somebody cutting a tree outside of your house?
I don't get allergies too often, at least not lately. But I think it's just dusty as fuck in here or something like that. I don't know. Could be that. Oh, it's probably all that weed I have in the corner here too. And again, that usually doesn't give me allergies. So I don't know.
You allergic to weed, bro?
No, definitely not. I definitely love the greenery, as some stoners would call it. Anyways, this next, it's like, where the fuck are we going right now, right? See, I'm going off the rails, Matt Hughes style, right?
No, he went on the rails. That was the problem.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, if only his car was a little lined up more center, right? Just kidding.
He was just trying to recreate Back to the Future 3 and it didn't work out.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one with the train.
Yeah, I know, but did someone actually get hit by a train in that?
I don't think so, but I think they raced the car along it.
Dude, I would just make the joke from Major League 2.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
that classic movie, Major League 2.
I mean, come on. Even if you're not a sports fan, you know that scene when the asshole free catcher Jack Parkman runs over the catcher for the Indians. He's like, "Stay off the tracks, and the train's coming, boy."
100% where Colby got that from, by the way.
Oh, of course, no, easily. That's why I love that fucking joke.
Yeah,
that
Colby
hilarious.
loves that movie, and not just because it's ultra racist for a big portion of it.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, there's even a part of the movie where even though Wesley Snipes never should have been replaced by, and I like Omar Epps, there's a part where the character Willie Mays Hayes goes into bat, and the asshole catcher, he's like, "Hey, it's Black Hammer." It's like, Jesus. What the fuck? Anyways, this next fight is at men's lightweight, I believe. American fighter Jakar Close going up against American fighter Christos Giagos. This should be a banger. I remember we've mentioned who is Christos Giagos. No disrespect to him before, because we kind of didn't really see what he brought to the table. But this dude's scrappy as hell, and so is Jakar Close, because we've seen him fight. His last two, Jakar Close. Okay, so, oh yeah, he had a canceled bout. He's supposed to fight Beneil Dariush.
Yeah, this is going to be another one of those fights where it's just going to be a banger. Like, these dudes don't know how to get in just a brawl.
I'll say this: I'm leaning Jakar just because he's at the MMA lab. No disrespect to Giagos.
Those calf kicks, brah.
And I know I always underestimate Giagos. To be fair, he's fought Mizuto Hiroto, and then he fought Damir Hadjitovic, who's still an up-and-comer as well. I just like Jakar Close, just based on his camp. And it's no disrespect to his opponent. I know Giagos brings it. He's durable as all hell. I think this goes the distance, but I like Jakar in this one.
Yeah,
what are you thinking?
I'm leaning Close as well, mostly because, first off, I think he has to land a bunch of calf kicks early just to kind of set the tone. And I do think Giagos at some point in this fight is probably going to take a round with the takedown and top control, because he did really well early against, oh God, who did he fight last? I forget. Oh God, I just watched this. Oh yeah, against Damir Hadzovic. He found success with the takedowns towards the middle middle end of the first round, and then in the second round. Problem is he gassed himself out doing it, and in the third round he just was completely gassed and having trouble getting any takedowns going. And I think that's probably what this fight's going to look like as well. Close did get taken down in his last fight as well, and it was against, who was it? Bobby Green. And Bobby Green's not exactly known as a top control wrestler, but Bobby Green held him down and beat him up for a good portion of that fight. So I do think Giagos is probably going to get the takedown at some point and end up on top for the rest of the round. I'm pretty confident Giagos is going to drop the third. And then I think a lot of this comes down to who takes the first and or the second. And I think, like I said, I think Close is probably going to catch him early with leg kicks. But Giagos did a pretty good job at catching kicks and getting takedowns off of him. So I'm leaning Close by decision, but I would not be surprised to see a 29-28 for Giagos.
I like it. Either way, I don't think, and I'll tell the odds. So, So you have Close, right? Do you have him by a close decision? Sounds like something fucking some asshole would say. Oh wait, that's me.
I was gonna say you're that asshole. You just said
wait, that's me. The odds are minus 167, close to a plus 135 for Giagos. So yeah, take that as you will.
I should shout out this Primordial Imperial IPA from Mother Earth Brewing Company. Not one of my favorite breweries. And this is a fucking classic reason why I don't drink Imperial IPAs that much. Because this thing is 9% and just super strong, pretty bitter, and pretty sweet.
Okay, so not only are you getting attacked, your ears are getting attacked by lumberjacks and wood chippers. It's right. Hot as fuck where you're at, and you're drinking a fucking Imperial Stout. Are you
Imperial
like
IPA.
Are you like trying to just pass the fuck out right now?
Kinda. That or the dude outside who keeps yelling to the lumberjacks is gonna catch these fucking hands in a minute. But we'll keep on
trying to catch the fade, bro.
Yeah, no, the bin man's gonna get these hands, as Jack Black would say.
All right, moving on, which is Brendan. This is Brendan Schaub's only fight that he knows because he's such a casual on the undercard.
Also, it's just because he knows personally knows Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if he knew much of anything about Rafael Sunsao.
Yeah, he's probably like, oh, he's that guy that goes to the decision, right? Anyways, Rafael Sunsao is fighting rising prospect. Well, he's pretty much not a prospect. I think he's ranked now.
Yeah.
Corey Sandhagen. Last time we saw Rafael Sunsao, he got submitted via, I think it was a guillotine. Yep, to
nasty guillotine.
The one punch man himself.
That's
or for
right.
all you Dragon Ball nerds, Krillin, myself included. I mean, I did watch Dragon Ball. Everyone watched fucking Dragon Ball, dude. Come on.
You mean everyone watched Dragon Ball Z? You didn't watch fucking Dragon Ball.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you watch the reruns of Dragon Ball, unless like you're in your mid to late 30s or some shit. Cause I think that aired in like the 80s. I don't know. Yeah. People forget that. Like, anime is a lot older than you think, as far as when the Americans started watching the reruns, right? Shout out to Toonami, bro.
Dog, space guy.
Where's Tom? The dude they had on Toonami or some shit. The fucking little robot host. I remember that thing was a fucking trip. You already know there's probably some dude working for Cartoon Network just like high as fuck or sipping on some liquor, just reading his lines. I mean, that's what I'd be doing, right? You know?
Out.
Just like in between reads.
Especially back then. I feel like everybody at Cartoon Network was high as shit.
Oh, because, dude, just based on that guy's line, it was, all right, everyone, how you doing? All right, next up, fucking got Batman Beyond, and after that, Dragon Ball Z. You know?
Oh, we got some Gundam later.
Yeah, right, and some Zoids. Anyways, Corey Sandhagen, last time we saw this guy, he won a split decision to John Lineker. Yep. As your boy Wes would say. Whatever happened? Hey, whatever happened to that podcast? I think they all just fucking went to selling propane. Oh God!
I think they still do it. I just can never remember which one it is because
I can't remember either. I kind of want to check it out again. I need a laugh. Oh God! I remember how ignorant that guy was, but it was entertaining.
To be fair, yeah, no, he was very funny.
And then there was the other guy.
Outrageous shit.
Yeah, I think they were from San Antonio, and then the other guy. There's another guy from Texas who sounded like fucking Hank Hill, and he said all that misogynistic shit.
Was that Loudmouth?
No, it wasn't Loudmouth. No, because I think I just listened to it like a couple weeks ago. But I remember the Hank Hill guy said some really misogynistic shit.
The Hank Hill guy was hilarious.
I mean, it was funny, but it's like you probably shouldn't be too honest. I think he said something along the lines of like, it'd be better if these chicks were like less stressed. I don't know if it was him or someone else.
That checks
out.
I
was like, okay, why don't you kind of slow down there, Jasper? Anyways, yeah, Corey Sandhagen got to be the favorite, right? I mean, I don't
know, man.
I like a Sunsao's game. He's fought pretty much just top people, top guys, top fighters.
Yeah, Sunsao's. I mean, if you look at his last couple of losses, they're just to Marlon Moraes and TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. The problem I have with taking a Sunsao in this fight is the Sunsao's game is kind of built around winning one big exchange in a round or getting top control. And I think
he kind of looks for that slip and just like that fucking, what is that, like that hook he has?
I mean, he's got a couple different setups, and he's very good. He has a crazy speed on his counterpunching. And he throws goddamn bombs. He dropped Rob Font hard.
That's right.
In that fight.
And Rob Font's a scrappy boxer.
Yeah. I just don't know that he can win rounds consistently against Corey Sandhagen's volume. And plus, Corey does a pretty good job of feinting out counters. Where he'll just bait you out with a ton of feints and try and draw out a counter and then punish afterwards. That combined with the stance switching and with just the volume he puts out there, it's going to be tough for a Sunsao to take rounds, I think, without getting a takedown. But Sunsao's top game is really fucking good, and his counter takedowns are pretty goddamn solid. So I'm taking Sandhagen via decision, basically just because I think he'll be able to shell up Sunsao a bit with the feints and avoid the just giant winging counters. I think he probably takes 2 of those rounds off volume and pressure. I think a Sunsao probably takes the 3rd round just off of cardio. And well, if he can get his wrestling game going and end up on top, I think Sunsao can definitely take the fight. But yeah, I'm taking Sandhagen via decision.
I have Sandhagen via decision as well. I think his movement He's going to be a little awkward for Sunsao. Not that he hasn't dealt with him. He fought Dillashaw, who has good movement.
Yeah, but he had trouble with Dillashaw too.
Yeah, so
But
I
a lot
like
of
that.
that trouble with Dillashaw came from the wrestling.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Especially in that fucking rematch. Duh. I remember that. So the odds on this, Sandhagen is a minus 227 to a plus 184 favorite over Rafael Sunsao. This next fight reminds me why I need to start.
Whoa! Sunsao's a plus 184 underdog.
Yeah,
Jesus.
evidently.
If you want to put together a trash parlay on this card, you got some motherfucking options.
You have some options for sure. Anyway, this next fight is a reminder to me in fantasy why I need to start picking some of my flexes or even contracts, maybe in this case, way in advance. Because we got Devontae Smith, King Cage, who's 10-1, going up against Kama Worthy, who's a record of 14 wins, 6 losses.
Yeah. Well, good news for you.
I'll tell you the odds later.
You couldn't have picked this one way in advance because this was supposed to be Clay Collard. And John McDessie, actually.
Oh, okay, then touche. So I guess I don't feel bad. Anyways, you might ask me why are you mentioning the odds already? I haven't mentioned them yet. But let's take this in consideration. Let's look at Devontae Smith's resume here. Knock the fuck out, knocking people out, knocking people out, knocking people out, knocking people out, triangle choke. Looks like all he does is knock people the fuck out. Looks like when he hits people, they don't fucking move. So that's, this guy's got to have some power, right?
Definitely.
Like, Jesus fucking Christ. He's going up against Kama Worthy, who last time we saw him, we didn't see him in the UFC. You might have seen him in Brawl in the Berg at 247 FC. That's the name of the promotion.
I'm guessing area code 247 is probably Pittsburgh.
So, spoiler alert, I have Devontae Smith by violent knockout. And I'll tell you what helps me with that decision later. But that's my pick.
247 is a New York area code, so I don't know what the fuck that 247 stands for. So, spoiler alert, Chris. I want you to go ahead while I talk about this. Go ahead and look up how much Devontae Smith by decision is, because that's how the fuck this fight's going to go. These are training partners, or at least friends.
Oh, yeah, they are kind of homies. Yeah, I remember that, actually.
And Devontae Smith already came out and said it's not going to be a violent fight. So I think 100% this is going to look like a sparring match.
So there is a catch to this.
Yeah, so I am actually taking Smith via decision, mostly because of that. Because, number one, when training partners fight, a lot of times it ends up looking like a sparring match.
No, you're absolutely right. That's a good point. So, plus 385.
That's a great line. Absolutely, I think Devontae Smith should outclass him. And I don't think Smith is going to just be winging fucking bombs trying to kill dude. So I think that's a real solid way to take this.
Speaking of which, do you think, and I think the fight will happen at some point, if Colby does fight Jorge, I think that goes to decision regardless. That fight's goes to decision regardless.
I mean, I'm taking Colby via decision in most of Colby's fights. He's not putting anybody
that's a
away.
good. Yeah,
he's definitely not rear naked choking anybody, as we saw.
No. I'll get to the odds here.
For Smith, you had KO, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
do you have a round
probably
on
not. I'm not going to change it because I feel. But no, you're absolutely right. It's going to go to decision. He's not going to. I'm not going to say. I mean, he might knock out his buddy.
He might straight smoke dude because dude hits hard. Like he killed a man in his last fight, pretty much.
Yeah, here are the odds. Minus 1,000 for Smith to a plus 648.
Yeah,
Worthy.
So you could bet Smith straight at minus 1,000, or you could bet him by decision, which I think is likely, at plus 385.
And if you are insane or want money that you don't like anymore, Worthy by knockout is like plus 1645. So take that as you will.
This fucking fight. Oh boy. Did you have a round on yours?
I'll just say round 2.
Okay. Cool, man. Well, we finally made it to the main card where Brendan Schaub gets to care.
Yeah, Brendan Schaub just woke up. He didn't drink any coffee, though. So anyways, this next fight is a men's middleweight bout between, I think he's still a prospect at this point. Shouts out to the airplane. Ian Heinisch going up against
the airplane, indeed.
Derek Brunson. Last time we saw Ian Heinisch, he defeated Shoeface
Yeah,
via
he's
unanimous
had
decision.
he beat two fantastic grapplers in his last
And
fight.
Stacer Fajeda. Wow, yeah, I can see why this guy's hyped the fuck up. Derek Brunson, a grappler, a good grappler.
He got Elias Theodoro cut in his last fight.
Yeah. And then he got finessed by Izzy Adesanya. Yeah, I don't see why I don't take fucking Ian Heinisch unless his stand-up is terrible.
It's not good, but then again, Brunson, I don't know what Brunson's game plan is anymore.
I'll just say this: if Heinisch, he's still a prospect at this point. I mean, I wouldn't consider that if you're out grappling Shoeface and Fajeda. I can't see why I wouldn't take Heinisch in this.
Right.
I don't see what Brunson's gonna be able to do. Brunson couldn't take down Adesanya. I know Adesanya has a really athletic wide base, similar to like a John Jones. But then again, Adesanya, all he really pretty much trains now is grappling.
True.
And scrambling.
But one thing to note on that is did Brunson throw a fucking punch in that fight, or did he just go for the weakest outside double legs you've ever seen?
I think he just went for the weakest outside double legs against the cage too, and still couldn't bring him down.
Yeah, so
yeah, I got Heinisch. I think this goes decision.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. I have the same thing. This fight is going one of two ways. Either Brunson runs out like a madman and KOs Ian Heinisch, which I think if he just does that shit where he gets panicky and just throws heaters the whole time, he could definitely win this fight early. Ian Heinisch is very hittable. But I think Brunson probably, even if he does try that, probably gasses himself out doing it.
Unless he looks how he did against Silva, like where he just gets in the clinch and starts bombing him with uppercuts.
How long ago was that?
But yeah, exactly. How long ago was that?
Over 2 years ago? We're closer to 3 years at this point, almost. Yeah. So, yeah. I've got Heinisch to take the last 2 rounds. I think he'll probably drop the first round, but I think it's probably just because nobody does anything for the first round. There's a good chance this fight, fucking nothing happens. I believe the Vivisection and Heavy Hands were talking about this, how this might 100% be a staring match for at least the first 2 rounds. So it could be rough, but
it's a possibility.
I'm leaning Heinisch though via decision, just off of he's gonna have more cardio in the third than Brunson.
The odds on this: Heinisch is a -149 to a +125 favorite over Derek Brunson.
I feel like that's about right.
Take that as you will. This next fight is at men's featherweight, I believe. Excuse me.
Another fucking hell of a this fight could easily
should
turn
be
into
a pretty
wild scrap. Yeah.
We got Nigerian fighter Sadiq Super Yusuf going up against Mexican fighter and tough alum Gabriel Mowgli Benitez.
Yeah, dude, who we've both been pretty high on.
Yeah, I like what he brings. His boxing solid. His grappling is, I guess I can say, underrated for the division. The guy's not afraid to take it to the ground.
And he's coming off a USADA suspension, right?
Is he?
I thought he was.
He might be. It says he last fought a year ago, last May, against Humberto Bandone.
Yeah, I thought he was one of I thought it was him and maybe not. Maybe I'm mixing him up with somebody, which is not nice to do. Yeah.
Usually USADA doesn't suspend you for a year. It's usually like 2.
Yeah. I'm mixing him up with the other Brazilian.
Anyways, Mowgli is at AKA, according to Tapology.
Yep.
I know I've actually seen Mowgli when I visited Alliance a couple years ago.
Oh, shit.
And he was there for a second. I saw him briefly. But I remember the coaches told me that a lot of the fighters from Tijuana, because that's where our local, and hey, here's a local guy. We always, for the San Diego guys, shouts out to all the TJ fighters.
Hell yeah.
They're local
There's
enough.
a lot of them.
Mowgli, Tijuana represent. I remember I saw him, and he's with the other guy, I think Macio Florin or something. There's a bunch of other TJ fighters.
Macio Follin,
thank you. I've always liked what I've seen from Benitez, and I know Yusuf has legit fucking, what do you want to call them, intangibles, like some football talk, right?
Yeah, Yusuf is very, very slick.
I think this goes decision, because I think both guys will just be thrown down, and I can't remember, does Yusuf have good grappling? I mean, Benitez isn't the best, but his last fight against, what's-his-face, Bandit, he slammed him on the fucking ground.
Well, he slammed him when he was in an arm, he got caught in an arm bar.
Yeah.
Spiked him on his goddamn head. Although, interesting to note, Yusuf does have a loss to Luis J. Gomez. Okay, it's probably not Luis J. Gomez. It's probably a
It's
different Luis
definitely.
Gomez.
I would say if it is him, he needs to retire.
No, it's 100% not. But he does have a slam loss in his record, which is kind of interesting. But
Could be a red herring. Could be not.
yeah, the problem is for I don't know how Benitez gets his fight to the ground because I don't remember a lot of big doubles or singles in his game, and Sadiq Youssef is excellent at getting double unders in the clinch. He is very fucking good at any time you collapse the distance on him, he immediately will dig double unders and put you against the cage and then circle off when he wants to. He's very fucking good at it. He did it over and over again against Shayman Moraes. Anytime Shayman Moraes got inside, he'd get over under or double unders. If he got over under, he'd immediately pummel, get you against the cage, and then break and throw a bomb. He's just very slick at that. I think that combined with his counterpunches and calf kicks is going to be a real fucking problem for Benitez, which Benitez has super good kicks. He's really fast. He's very good on the ground. I just think this is kind of a fight for Youssef to put on a big performance on a big stage, it feels like.
Oh, I agree with what you said, and I'm gonna go with Youssef. I think this goes the distance. I think Benitez does take one round though. I think maybe
I wouldn't be
early.
surprised. Yeah. He's very tricky. Like Benitez is, I feel like, pretty goddamn underrated. I just feel like the size difference and
Youssef's a lot bigger than him, at least with like the meat on the bones.
Yeah, I just feel like the counterpunching,
physicality.
Yeah, I just feel like the counterpunching and the fight IQ of Youssef's gonna get this one done.
Yeah, I have Youssef by decision. The odds makers have this at a -278 with Youssef the favorite, over +220 for Mowgli.
Yeah, that sounds about right, unfortunately.
This next fight,
Big Boy Season,
is unofficially brought to you by Natural Light Beer. It's Saturday, so go get yourself a Natter Day if you're feeling like a piece of shit.
You just really used Natter Day in a sentence?
Yeah, that's why I said piece of shit, because I didn't like saying that.
Have you tried those terrible fucking... Oh, I actually have heard they're good, which I can't believe.
Wait.
So
keep going.
The
now I'm
lemonade
intrigued.
Natural Light. There's like a pink lemonade Natural Light.
If we do a commentary next week, let's just fucking go in on one of those. Why not? I'm actually intrigued.
All right. I'm not happy about it, but all right.
I'm not happy about it. I'm not dreading it. I'm just not looking forward to it.
Oh, bro, but how are we gonna get down with the claw if we're drinking Natty Light?
Dude, let's go invite. Where's Tanner and fucking Chad and Brad and Skylar, right?
Brittany.
Yeah, and Becky and Tefana.
I say Brittany because I know 3 Britneys who have posted pictures of White Claws.
Yeah, one that I've seen her story like every fucking day.
Shouts out to Brittany Kress. I love that girl.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah,
shouts out. Yeah, dude, look at Paulo Costa's all natty looking fucking dude. That's fucking comedy.
Just the juiciest of boys.
Yeah, I remember I saw him fight last year. I think on my story, I said juicy matchup. It was great as it said juicy and it was like dripping and I put like a needle next to it or some shit. Just had to do it. He's going up against our favorite soldier of God, Yoel Romero. Yeah. I think Yoel Romero's winning this fight.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's a way too big a step up, way too fast for Paulo Costa.
Yeah. Costa is extremely violent with the shots to the body. Dude has crazy power, but is very undisciplined with his striking. Doesn't really cover up. Gets very susceptible to a jab. I saw that Uriah Hall fight in person. He was getting pieced the fuck up.
He ate a fuckload of shots in that fight, and Uriah Hall is not nearly the counterpuncher that Yoel Romero is.
How do you like this? It's a 3-rounder.
I've got Yoel TKO second. Actually, probably KO second.
I think he's finishing him.
Yeah. I think Boachinia early will throw out more volume and possibly take the first round. Shouts out to the fucking plane, who I'm sure is delivering more trees to the Lumberjacks right now. Yeah, the problem is I don't know. Well, first off, Paulo Costa got double-legged by Uriah Hall. We can start there. So that's not a good look for him against fucking Yoel Romero. but I don't even think Yoel Romero is going. I think Yoel Romero is going to absolutely blast his legs with leg kicks, both the stomp.
Well, I can't see you, so I'm just literally staring. Depending on how you saw that fight, I thought it was a close fucking fight. It was a good fight. Whatever.
Jesus Christ! I think we're okay again. Fucking Jesus.
We're good for now. Anthony Pettis.
Oh my God.
This is his second fight at 170. Last time we saw him, he knocked out Wonderboy via Superman punch off the cage. He was getting pieced up pretty bad in that fight, and I know, why are you saying that? I mean, he was. But he pulled a win out of his ass, which all respect to that. Before that, he had fought Tony Ferguson, which was a hell of a fight. What are you leaning, Chris?
I'm leaning towards suicide or mass homicide of cocks. I'm not, and I don't mean dicks, but also those. I'm not sure. I'm gonna murder everyone though. Fucking, I blame the goddamn juicy ass Paulo Costa for all these internet issues. So okay. First off, I was saying oblique kick before. That was what I kept saying. I think Yoel Romero is gonna throw oblique kicks and land a counter bomb. Oh my God. So Diaz versus Pettis. I originally thought Diaz is going to get smoked because he can't take leg kicks, especially on the calf.
Yeah.
And he hasn't really taken. Not a lot of people have thrown calf kicks against Nate Diaz. You got to remember it was 2016 when he fought Conor the second time. So calf kicks weren't nearly as popular then as they are now. However, this is an opposite stance matchup. Because Diaz is a southpaw and Pettis mainly fights out of orthodox.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So the leg kicks are all going to be on the inside of the leg, not to the calf, unless Pettis is switching southpaw and then throwing calf kicks.
Isn't he? I think he is a switch fighter. At least sometimes, because I know he implements his taekwondo quite a bit.
Yeah, he switches quite a bit, but he does maintain. He mostly fights out of orthodox.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I don't think the leg kicks are gonna be as big a factor as people think, especially since they are opposite stances. It also opens up Nate's cross to be more effective. And you gotta imagine, Nate has dealt well with... I mean, both Nick and Nate do switch stances here and there as well. And so Nate seems pretty comfortable against orthodox and southpaw fighters. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this goes. I think 100% Pettis takes the first round. I think 100% Nate takes the third round. I think just...
Are you? I'm not trying to be a dick, but are you kind of? I remember I listened to a podcast that said that too.
It was I want to say Heavy Hands maybe, or Vivi.
It was Vivisection. Yeah.
It was one of those two.
And I agree with him 100%. Yeah. I believe this comes down to the second round. In my opinion, I could see either one of these guys winning the fight.
Yeah.
I know some people lean Pettis because Nate has been out for 3 years.
Time off is the big X factor. Yeah.
So ring rust, whether you want to believe it or not, affects some fighters differently. It didn't affect Dom Cruz. It didn't affect, who is it? I think it was Cesar Fajeda. I remember he was out for like 4 fucking years and he came out to start to get. So it's all your mental game. I think Nate Diaz's mental game is strong. I think I'm gonna pick him in a close decision. I don't ever call splits, but I think this could be one of those instances where it's gonna be like, oh fuck, I think Pettis should have won. Oh no, fuck you, Nate. You know what I mean? I think it's gonna be a really close scrap. And I think Pettis is gonna bring it to Nate Diaz pretty good. I've liked him. Nate Pettis. I don't know if you've seen him. He's fucking put on some muscle for sure. The dude's looking really big in the shoulders compared to what he usually looks like in lightweight. Yeah. I know Nate Diaz has mentioned he's going to stay at 170, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, he should. He doesn't need that weight cut
because he could put on more weight too.
He's looking way bigger.
Oh, yeah. So I'm excited for both of these guys in this division. They kind of had a rivalry back then. It was more or less like them talking shit in passing, whatever. I don't think there's real beef.
No.
I don't think they like each other necessarily.
I think they are very different personalities.
Yeah. So.
I love that Nate keeps referring to him as the Wheaties box guy.
Yeah, the Wheaties box dude. Yeah.
Also, shouts out to all the momos out there saying that Nate Diaz was smoking a CBD joint at the open workouts. Yes,
yeah, no, that didn't look like a CBD.
It would probably had a good amount of CBD in it, but also good luck finding a CBD only strain of weed. There are very, very few and far between.
Yeah, it's just called CBD dominant. Like I've smoked them before.
Exactly. Like
I can't remember what the percentage
there's
is, but
some
it's
like Harlequin's pretty low in THC, but it's not a CBD joint, dog. It's just a joint that with high CBD content.
yeah. I think the split's usually like 70-30.
I mean,
Like
it depends.
CBD.
They can only get in actual plant form. You can only get the THC levels so low.
Yeah,
I think Harlequin is like the go-to strain.
and he's fine. I think you only get in trouble if it's like 24 hours. Do you have an inch system?
It depends on the level. Is the problem, but
he'll be fine. He took like 3 fucking puffs. I don't even know if even that. Looked like he was just moving around. I think it's just for show. Like I'm not worried about it.
well, it is his strain of weed, so
Who knows?
sense, yeah.
Either way, I'm not worried about it. But yeah, I have Nate Diaz via decision. If Pettis wins, I wouldn't be surprised because Pettis looks like a fucking killer so far.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, yes, I know he's getting pieced up by Wonderboy. He's a counter striker. Diaz is a volume striker, so we'll see. But Pettis isn't afraid to get into your face. Look at what happened with Ferguson. Ferguson's way more chinier than Diaz. I know that, but still, Diaz also is prone to get hit as well. He kind of almost welcomes it.
True.
So, yeah, I got Diaz by decision. And I know right now you're about to enter the Matrix, according to this notification right here.
Yep. I fucking hate it. Oh, hey, wait. I think I'm.
Wait, okay, so let me just go ahead and say the odds.
Oh, wait, let me go ahead and say Diaz by decision as well. I think the tide's going to turn about 2 minutes, a minute and a half into the second round when Pettis starts slowing down and Diaz starts pointing at him every time he lands. And just on judges' scorecards, Diaz looks real good when the other dude starts to look real panicky and Diaz starts making fun of him in the ring.
Yep.
So, also, Diaz beat Connor in the second fight 2-3-5. Eat a dick.
Sure. I mean, I'll eat a dick because I scored Connor slightly in that. Sure.
I just rewatched it last night, and I got real mad about how Connor won that fight.
Yeah, I can't remember how I had scored it for Connor.
Landed 3 punches. But the third round could be 10-8 Nate Diaz. It was a fucking beating he put on him.
Oh, that was the round where he kept running away, huh? I don't know.
There was multiples of those rounds, but yes, especially the third round. He just kept running away and then getting mauled against the cage.
So anyways, the odds, Pettis is a -135 to a +115 over Nate. So take that as you will.
I feel like the layoff and the leg kicks
I think it's
are
fair
the
odds.
factor.
This next fight, we already kind of had a spoiler alert. This is a rematch.
Spoiler alert. Stipe already got knocked out once. He's going to get knocked out. Well, I guess the third time if you count sparring.
So this fight should have happened about 8 or 9 months ago, but didn't.
Yep. Shouts out to that one.
Shouts out to Bork Laser, that piece of shit. Yeah. I like Stipe a lot. Can he win this fight? Yeah, of course. We've seen what he's done.
He landed a lot on DC early. It's just DC rolls with punches very well.
Yeah, his chin is fucking crazy. Yeah, but we both have DC by knockout, right? Or I'd say TKO. I think he drops him in the
Either way, really.
And I'm still adamant this. If DC wins, he retires.
I don't know.
He retires. No, he's going to retire. And if he doesn't, what is he going to do? Fucking call out Brock Lesnar? Or just say, fuck it, I want Ngannou? I don't know. I don't think anyone wants to fight Ngannou, to be frank, but...
No, but I think DC has said a couple times that he has trouble. That Ngannou never really showed he can wrestle.
I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong.
I
have DC either way in that fight. He wrestle fucks Ngannou for
also,
sure.
You got to think the DC, the Kane loss. You got to imagine is a factor for DC.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. DC wins. What's next for Stipe? I don't know. They'll probably put him against what's that guy, Alexander Volkov or some shit. I don't know where the rankings are right now. I won't be mad against that fight. I feel like that's what they would do. That's just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
If DC calls out Jones, this is gonna happen. This is probably what will happen. If he doesn't retire, he goes, John Jones, where you at, bitch? Come to heavyweight. And then John Jones like, oh, you're too much of a pussy, bro. Cut down. And then the fight won't happen. And then I'm like, okay. And then I'll just give him the next guy up, which would be Francis. John Jones, I don't think wants any of that at heavyweight. No.
I think that shit is all talk. I think John Jones absolutely wants that fight. He's just trying to get the money he thinks he deserves to make the heavyweight jump. Which
either way,
can't be bad.
Historically, when you go up in weight, you look more of a killer. And knowing John Jones, if he went to heavyweight and started murdering everyone, that probably wouldn't surprise me.
Well, that's the thing is heavyweight is kind of a garbage division. Especially when it comes to.
I'll say
I
this:
think most light heavyweights beat a whole lot of heavyweights.
Yeah, I'll say this: the one fight. What would you say is the most terrible matchup for Jones? I say based on Santos throwing heaters at Jones. I think Jones would be like, holy fuck against Francis. That's just not a good matchup.
He would wrestle the shit out of Francis.
Oh, he would, but you know what I mean, though. As far as Francis could get in his wheelhouse with his explosiveness, and being able to close that distance, like it's you know what I mean, though. Based on what but then again, Francis, his leg kick, I don't know.
I'm just not
There's a
sold
lot
on Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, I'm sold on his power, and I'm sold on him that I think he's gonna get nothing. He's just gonna get better. I truly believe that.
Sure.
But yeah, it comes down to how much will he be able to adapt into his scrambling. How more or less his wrestling, his scrambling, and his defense against the grappling. If it's against someone like a DC, forget about it. Like it's obvious, even a John Jones too. But
yeah, I'm not convinced Francis is ever going to be able to learn enough wrestling to hold a belt for more than a fight or two if he gets a belt. I think he's just hasn't shown any improvement in his wrestling. But also, he hasn't had to because he's just
he haven't had a chance to see it.
But like, I'm also that dude who hitting hard does nothing. Like, cool, you hit hard, bro. Not nearly as impressive.
Look what that did for Rumble. Things. How many people were picking Rumble over DC? And we saw what happened there, right? I'm just saying.
Exactly.
No, I'm just
or Volkan Ozdemir.
Yeah.
And then Volkan Ozdemir has 100% turned the corner and really rounded out his game.
He could be a future champ at light heavyweight, depending on what happens with John Jones.
Yeah, depending on.
I mean, I'm not like
John
don't get me wrong.
I'm not. DC fall off the
don't get me wrong.
I'm
not like saying he's a future champion. I'm just saying, barring matchups. He
looked very good in his fight last weekend.
Yeah,
which I believe our official scores on last weekend's picks, we went 9-4, I believe.
Okay.
Which is
did we pretty much have literally like identical picks?
Yes. The only fight we had different that we got wrong was I had Paiva, you had Bontarin, which you got right. And to be fair, that fight was fucking chaos and ended because they both got cut, but one of them got cut worse.
Oh, is that the dude his eyebrow looked like another eyelid?
Yeah. And then I had Marina taking the win over Tisha Torres.
That's right.
So that was the only two. Other than that, we got a couple close decisions wrong, like the Moffitt fight, the Bandone fight, and the DeFreitas fight, two of which were split decisions. So I feel pretty good about our picks last week. Especially that Sochenko via decision pick. Fucking nailed that shit.
Yeah, clearly.
Oh, but yeah, we got
I,
DC, and I would expect the odds. I believe from what I've heard, DC is he still a slight favorite? I know he was yesterday.
Let me see. DC is a minus 139 to a plus 120 over Stipe.
That's gotten wider.
And yeah, if Stipe wins, they're 100% doing the rubber match.
Yeah, they have to.
You have to. Unless DC is like, I retire, but he's not retiring.
He'd want the rubber match.
Yeah, no, he'll fight again.
Yeah.
It depends to how DC loses. If Stipe wins, how do you have him winning?
The first round knockout.
Yeah.
It's the only way. Just DC leans into something. Which is totally possible. DC barely survived a lot of that first round because his game plan.
Yeah, I watched that fight again. He was getting hit hard, and he's like, I remember one of them. He's like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, and a lot of
he clinched up.
He also got taken down by Stipe early, which again, I think a lot of that is DC just letting Stipe gas himself out. It seemed like.
Oh no, that's what it is. Yeah,
but still interesting, something to keep an eye on because if he just lets Stipe throw volume early, it could be interesting. I did hear Dan Hardy on Joe Rogan's podcast this week mentioned that he thinks Stipe hasn't rewatched the first fight. Based on the the conversations he's had with Stipe, he feels like Stipe didn't rewatch the DC fight.
Yeah,
it would be horrible. That'd be a horrible idea.
I hope his camp isn't that dumb, or ignorant. But either way, I have DC as well. What would I like to see selfishly happen? I'd like to see Stipe win because I'd want the trilogy fight. Because at this point,
it'd be fun.
I'll just say I have no interest in DC versus Ngannou because DC will wrestle fucking him. I have no interest in DC versus Jones at any weight class. I just don't care at this point. Doesn't matter to me. And then I don't want Stipe versus Francis too. No. So please, I'm not saying please Stipe win. I love Daniel Cormier too. Don't get me wrong, but I would prefer him to win. If I'm not being objective right now, but I have DC 100% in this fight.
And you had what method do you have on this?
Oh, TKO round 2. I think they fill each other out round 1. Stipe is be a lot more careful.
That's what I
stick to the outside. You'll see a fuckload of jabs. If DC initiates a clinch, I think Stipe tries to take him down, or it kind of just breaks if he can.
Yep, I'm feeling the same way.
But I remember, I think it was Jack Slack or someone, I think maybe Zane Simons, I think they said they could see this going a distance too. I could see that potentially.
I don't think Stipe has 5 rounds of cardio against DC.
But yeah, it depends too. Especially if DC takes him down, then forget about it.
Because DC really turns the pace up in the 3rd and 4th, and I don't see Stipe handling that well, considering how bad he gassed in the 1st round last time. And doubly so after LAPB 1802 came in chat and told us during the first segment that the rumor is Stipe got knocked out 2 weeks ago.
Yep, that's the rumor.
Which is a bad look.
That's not good.
So, should be a fun one though, man. I'm fucking hyped for this card, which is kicking off here in probably 5 hours, 4 hours.
Yeah, this will be one of the few cards on there to actually buy. Oops, did I just admit that live? Sorry. But no, seriously, I'm buying it. I'm probably gonna have a good amount of people over. I know you're in Santee, but if you want to make the trip over here, you're more than welcome to.
I might. Yeah, we'll see how the afternoon shakes out.
I get off work at 6:15.
If I'm not in jail for murdering lumberjacks, I'll let you know.
Let me know.
Cool, man. Well, we will go ahead and wrap this episode here. I feel like the first half of this episode was the biggest trash fire we've ever done. Fucking everything was going wrong on our side, but I feel like by the end we kind of pulled it back together. It took us long enough, but the internet is hopefully going to hold up at least long enough for me to get through this exit.
It's like the thumbnail. You should just fucking just Photoshop or just fucking put a picture
Neo over me.
Like the Matrix fucking glasses, or just or Cypher, the bald dude eating steak, the traitor.
I fucking cursed us.
Yeah, and it's for everyone confused about why I keep saying entering the Matrix. It's every time there's a poor connection. It's like literally whenever like they enter the telephone, it's like that sound. You know what I'm talking about? Yep. That's what it sounds like every time.
Well, and they'll know because the actual video portion of this cuts out every time that happens. So, which is great. It's great.
Oh, cool.
I'm on a fucking hardwired line into my internet, and I still don't.
So am I.
I don't. Yeah. Don't know why it keeps doing it, but I'm going to get to do some fun network tests this weekend, so...
I was going to say, is someone watching Netflix where you're at or something? Because that kind of what does it too.
I don't know. I'm about to just go on a goddamn... I'm not going to make that reference. So, on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. You can find us on Twitter, TSOVPod. Please let us know your show recommendations or if there's some shows that are pissing you off. Shouts out to, J1. What's his fucking name? Here, I'll pull it up. I know Jay... Oh, God. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. Here, let me look. JF1-MMA or JF7 at JF757 was one of the guys who... let me know this week that he is super done with Ariel's show and that it's fallen off a cliff, which I agree with. I think a lot of shows, as I told him on Twitter, I think a lot of the shows recently have kind of fallen off quite a bit because this UFC schedule is killing people. Like, I think most shows are kind of getting rough because they've done 7 shows in a week talking about shit like UFC Uruguay. And it's just causing a lot of the shows to just kind of get worn out and not be able to just take a breather week. And so I know for us, like, the weeks off, even if it's just commentary week, so relaxing. It is. It's very nice to like once or twice once a month if we could get a show off. That'd be great. I would love that. But it'll never happen. Also, I should mention, since I know one podcast this entire, I think just Jack Slack, referenced that there's a big Ryzen card this week, which is actually really good. Here, let me pull up some of the names on it real quick before we get out of here. Because I almost forgot to mention it. And I know Chris, how many podcasts have you heard even mention Ryzen 18 this week?
0.
Exactly. But Kyoji Horiguchi is fighting Kai Asakura in Ryzen.
Wow, see, I'm glad you told me that because
Yeah.
I never would have fucking known.
Ayaka Hamasaki's on the card. Takeya Mizugaki and Manel Cape fighting. John Wayne Parr is on that card. Kana Asakura is fighting Alicia Zapatella. Jared Brooks is on the card. Justin Scoggins. I mean, there's some very, very fun fucking fights on that. And no one is talking about it, including us. I barely mentioned it, so...
So, by the way, can I mention something real quick?
Sure.
That's funny. You mentioned Ariel going off a cliff. Apparently, he had literally said in one of his shows about Pettis and Diaz, and they absolutely, let me do my Ariel, and they absolutely hate each other. But Anthony Pettis, of course, just said right now, I don't know who he was talking to, he said, after the fight, I'm down to smoke with Diaz. Oh, yeah, they hate each other, Ariel. Sure. So
Ariel loves shitty drama.
he's a clout chaser, bro.
I mean, dude, he does the same thing Brennan Schaub does, where they just basically look at numbers and pick who they think gets numbers. It's very, very obvious and very annoying. Also, I'm in the Matrix, so a perfect way to end this motherfucker.
Shouts out to Neo.
God damn it. God, I'm burning everything down right now. I'm gonna burn... Fuck it! Fuck it, Pookie, we burning the shit down!
Burn this motherfucker to the ground.
Alright, well, on that note, I am out of here. You guys can follow us on Twitter, as I mentioned. Please, you know what? Don't even worry about liking this video, but subscribe. I promise it'll be better next
You already
time.
know someone's gonna be all like clever and snide, like that wasn't your best effort, guys.
Yeah, no. Trust me, I know. But you know what? I'm going to get a lot of cathartic, good feelings from murdering everyone I know that's outside the house right now. Actually, I don't know them, but I'm going to go on a lumberjack killing spree. And
I was
we'll
gonna
be
say
back
we're
next
in
week.
California, so I imagine you don't have an assault rifle. At least I hope you don't. So at least that's good. So
Yeah, no, definitely don't have an assault rifle. But you're right. Good call. I should go to Texas for a weekend. On that note... Fucking Jesus Christ, I'm burning it down. We're out of here. Everybody go do something decadent. We the fuck out.